Yo, what's good, guys? Producer Micah here, and today we're going to be making a Kizz Daniel type of beat, and I'm also going to be talking about gain staging, and I'm also going to be talking about how you can, easily transpose in FL Studio because I got some comments saying they didn't understand it in the previous tutorial. So if you're new here and you're yet to subscribe, kindly hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification so whenever I post, you guys get to know. So without wasting time, let's just go straight into FL Studio, and trust me, you could apply any of these techniques in any DAW you're using. So let's go straight into FL Studio and listen to this fire beat. Yeah, man, this fire beat, and I'm sure this like kind of Kizz Daniel type of beat. If you listen to his previous beats, you see that this actually fits well into his style. So I'm just gonna be showing you guys how you can easily create this kind of vibe. It's just all about getting the right drum bounce. So once your drum bounce is solid, trust me, every other thing is just gonna flow. So quickly, I'm just going to solo the drums and just play the drums so you feel the vibe. Then let me just bring the shakers. Yep. So the first thing I have there is this rim, and what this rim is playing is just normal bounce. Then we have this sharp snare, just to give it variation. So it's actually playing the same thing as the rim I showed you, just that it's playing at some instance, not coming in at every point that rim is playing. Then the next we have this percussion. So it's just like a call and response, a call and response. And I've talked about that in some of my tutorial that once you play your stuffs in a call and response pattern, it gives it a kind of bounce, it gives it kind of that afro groove. So another call and response. So we have this percussion. So another call and response on that part. So we have that bounce instead of just allowing only this rim. It's basically what this rim is playing that the other percussions are playing. But they're just coming in at different points, giving it that that bounce. So it's the same thing, but just so you can also create this kind of bounce using congas, just to give it that bounce. So only imagine just the rim playing by itself, it's just gonna be, it's not going to be interesting. But bringing these percussions in, you have that vibe. Then I have my steady kick, just normal afro bounce kick. Kizz Daniel vibes are kind of emotional, but they are also groovy. They are also danceable vibe. So that's why we have our tempo to around 113. It can go up to like 115, 116, just to give it that groovy vibe. Then the next thing I have my shakers. And at this point, I'm going to talk about gain staging. So gain staging is basically just um arranging your sounds in such a way that they sound balanced. None is louder than any other. They all sound balanced. So if for this my shaker now, for example, you know, let me just reset the value and just play it. So as you listen, you could see that the shaker is very loud. So gain staging, you just bring down the shaker, just use your ear. So it's all about using your ear to make sure that everything is sounding clean and none is louder than any other. They are so balanced. So I'm just gonna bring down my shakers to the point where I feel like, okay, this is, this is warm enough. So, and also for my percussions, if you check my mixer, I've brought down some that I feel like were louder. Let me just reset this percussion, and you can see that it's louder than the others. So I just have to turn it down to a very sweet spot. So don't worry if you're just starting out, because building your ear can take a while, getting used to the sound and to know when one is louder than the other. But with time, it just comes natural as long as you keep practicing though. Then next I have on that shaker, which I also brought down the volume because leaving it the way it is gonna be so loud. So gain staging, don't forget it, just balancing the whole sound so it sounds nice. Even without mixing, it should be able to sound nice and clean. And it also boils down to selecting the right sound. If you don't select the right sound, you're going to do a lot of mixing trying to make it sound nice. Yeah, and shout out to J Sticks for sending these melodies that we're gonna be using. So I'm just gonna turn on the chord progression. Yeah, so let's talk about transposing now, because I think that's a lot of people were confused in the last tutorial I did. So first of all, when I have a chord progression going like this, for example, I just bring in my FL keys, try to get the key of the beat first of all. So I'm just gonna find the key. So we have our key to be E major. So if you new to playing the keyboard, we have C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and E. So this beat actually now is actually on the key of E. So if I want to play on the key of C, but I want it to sound like I'm playing on E, all I need to do is transpose it from C to E. So to do that, I just come to these settings on your keyboard. I count how many keys from C to E. So if I'm to count now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 keys to E. So if to transpose it, all you need to do is count backwards. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, which is our G sharp. Then I just right click on it. So now whatever I play on C is going to sound like I'm playing on E. I don't know if you get me, but if you don't get, you can pause and just take it back and try to understand. But basically that's it. So now I'm going to play on C, but I'm actually on the key of E. So you can see it's sounding like, let me reset it. It's sounding like this. And once I click here, our C is sounding like E. So that's the first thing you do to find your key. So one thing with Kizz Daniel kind of beat, the chord progressions are basically very basic chord progression, basic triad. So that's why when I heard this melody, I was like, okay, I'm going to use this to do a Kizz Daniel kind of vibe. So for my chord progression, we are just having our do, from do to la, from la to fa, and from fa to so. This is the chord progression. So I just brought out an electric piano. I love Lounge Lizard. So I brought out Lounge Lizard to just support the chord progression that's already laid down. This is what it sounds like. Yeah, so together. Then, I love vocal samples. So I brought in this vocal sample from Arcade. And this is what it sounds like. Then we have some nice muted guitar, which was part of the melody melodies that J6 sends. Then if you listen to Kizz Daniel very well, you know he has this emotional kind of vibe going there. So that's why I brought in this part from Nexus, and this is what it sounds like. So for that, I've also gain staged it because the default sound is like this, which is very loud. So I just brought it down, to fit so that I don't overshadow the groove. And the preset I'm using is PD Chill Pad. PD Chill Pad. Yeah. And on my EQ, I just used the EQ to just take out the whole high, so it sounds very warm. So together, let me turn that and bring everything. Yeah, then we have some violin, some nice violin, and for that I'm using contact for my violins. So let me solo what the violin is playing. And in case you have this violin plugin and you are wondering how you could get like that staccato kind of vibe, I think it's around C0. I think. Let me. Yeah. So with this note here, it has some articulation, so you could change the style or change the way the violin is playing. So now we have it on sustain. So you could just so let me see. So we have yeah. So we have that melody. Let me just play that part. So for that now, if you see I'm not really hearing it, so all I need to do is to bring it up. Part of our gain staging is just to bring the volume up to the point where I'm hearing the violin. Then next, he likes some of his songs have this amapiano kind of feel. So we have added this log drum. Yeah, so the vibe is basically coming. Then next, I have my bass just to give it that solid end, and for that, I'm using Trillion bass. Just to give it that solid low end, then more vocal sample from Arcade. Feel. Then I have added this solo, just playing the same thing the violin is playing, but with a different instrument. And for that, I'm using Evolve Workstation. Then for our whistle, we have I use this Whistling Monk from Nexus. So I use a lot of Nexus, which is not like my go-to plugin. So all this just gives it, give it that emotion. Then we have some live saxophone. And so that's basically how easy it is, to create a Kizz Daniel kind of vibe, guys. And if you look at my mixer, basically, I'm not really doing a lot. So because the sound selection is actually nice. So once you can select the right sound, trust me, man, you won't be doing a lot of tweaking. So let's listen from the top. Yeah, and for my log drum, basically why it's sounding so heavy, um I'm using Reviver. I spoke about this plugin in my last video. Very nice plugin. You could go check it, and I just boosted my mid and high, so it's giving it, because I have a bass playing with my log drum, so I don't want it to conflict. So let me just play the melody alone, so you see the emotions in the melody. So this can even be like our intro, amazing intro. Yeah, guys. So this is how, like I said, how easy it is to make a Kizz Daniel type of beat. So I hope I was able to address the issue on gain staging, and also the issue on how you could easily transpose to any key and play on C and still make it sound like you're playing on a different key. So guys, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, kindly give me a thumbs up. If you have any suggestion, let me know in the comment section. And if you're a new if you're a new person coming to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification, so whenever I post, you get to know. You don't want to miss out on these amazing videos, guys. Thank you for watching, and peace.